All right, good morning. Welcome in for another Friday safety focus of the week. Today is Friday, September 12th. Um, quick thing before we do an introduction on to Reed Wabi for our suicide prevention discussion. I'm doing a national safety stand down with all kind of contractors out there. So we'll highlight that in a minute, but I do want to quickly go over our stats over last week. So we did have that pretty severe auto accident. Luckily, everybody was wearing their seatbelt, and this could have been a lot worse. So we reset the count. We're at 6 days from our last recordable, from our last first aid, from our last auto. You're going to see safety really paying a lot more attention to the dash cam footage. You've already started seeing us reaching out, making phone calls. We got to do the best. We got to do the easy things right, and that's wearing our seatbelts, and that's not being on our phones. So going to be a little bit more raising the enforcement. And then it also goes with the passengers. You got to be a good co-pilot. We're going to have a kind of a safety topic on this in the next couple weeks. But if you're on the clock in transit in an ECI vehicle and you're in the passenger seat, you need to be wearing your seatbelt, and you need to be a good co-pilot and helping out the driver if you see something unsafe, such as a kid in the road, or if the driver's veering over, you got to be alert too. So
Yep.
we're going to be highlighting that a little bit more down the road.
Be vigilant. Be vigilant out there and help look out for the hazards. Just anyone that drives with their spouse or other family member knows how it feels to have somebody as a co-pilot, but it's also a good thing. It's a safe thing to do.
Yeah. But yeah, we had this on the docket. We kind of do it. We did it last year. It was our first year, and it's a kind of a Vermont base, but also a national base. It's a kind of construction suicide prevention week, and I'm not gonna stomp on Reed's topics and statistics, so I'll just do an introduction. This is Reed Wabi. That's Richard Wabi's son. He's helped us out with some reasonable suspicion. He's an expert in this field, so I'll pass it over to Reed.
Thank you very much, Matt. Appreciate you guys having me again today. Like Matt was saying, it's we're actually wrapping up Construction Suicide Prevention Week, but we're in the middle of Suicide Prevention Month across the nation. There's an emphasis on suicide prevention efforts, especially in working class, blue collar groups. So we're just going to talk a little bit about that. I know it sounds kind of like a funny place to start, but I met my wife in the Army. She's from the Philippines originally. She has never seen any of the good kind of like classic American movies. So we've been going through like different phases, watching movies together, getting her caught up on all the things that she hasn't been lucky enough to see. We went through Sylvester Stallone, all those films. We went through all the Arnold Schwarzenegger movies. We just wrapped up the whole Alien Predator series. She's in love with Alien now. We must have watched a couple of those movies 5 times in the last year, just over and over again. But we moved on to our Keanu Reeves phase. Obviously, we had to watch all the John Wicks and all that kind of stuff. And last night we were sitting around. She bought a couple of those safety meetings for me today as a little joke from Stowe Cider, because we had this morning. So we were sitting around having a couple of Stowe Ciders, and we watched. Have you guys anybody seen The Replacements with Keanu Reeves?
Yeah, football movie.
Great. It's an amazing football movie too. It really fits into like the time of the year right now. But it's got Keanu Reeves, it's got Gene Hackman, it's got a couple of other actors in it. It's a really fun movie. But there's a really like poignant, great scene in that movie. And I think it kind of talks to what we're talking about right now. There's a scene in that movie, all these replacement football players that they've done nothing but lose this season. They brought them in so they could win, and they're all just sitting in a classroom kind of having a powwow. And Gene Hackman, the coach, he asks them, you know, like, what are you guys afraid of out there? What are you guys afraid of? And this enormous 600-pound, 7-foot tall black guy stands up and in like a really deep voice says, "Oh, you know, I'm afraid of spiders." And Gene Hackman like shakes his head and everybody laughs at him. And then another guy, he stands up and he says, "Man, spiders, that's crazy. I'm afraid of snakes. Snakes, that's really a nasty thing. Spiders, you just smush those guys." And then everybody kind of laughs at him and they're making fun of him. A little fight tussle starts to break out. And Gene Hackman kind of pulls him back in. And he gets back into it. But guys, we're talking about like football. Football. What are you afraid of on the football field? And everybody's kind of like quiet. And finally, Keanu Reeves, he says he you know, in his Keanu Reeves way, he says, I'm afraid of quicksand. And everybody's like, Keanu, we just said we're talking about football. Like nobody, that's scary stuff, quicksand, but we're talking football. And Gene Hackman says, no, here, let's hear him out. What do you mean? He's like, you're having a good day. Warm-ups went well. You're out there. It's the first quarter. And you throw an incomplete pass. All right, we're going to throw some incompletions. And then the second quarter, you're doing all right. You're down by 3. You fumble the snap, turn the ball over. Then it's the third quarter. You're down by 10. You have 2 turnovers. You need to lead a drive down the field, and you throw an interception. And then miraculously, at the end of the game, you guys have come to be within 1 score. You get out on the field. You call the wrong play. Everything blows up in your face, and you get sacked, and the game's over, and it's all your fault. And I think when we're talking about mental health and talking about suicide prevention, it's important to remember that these kind of things don't just come up on us all at once. It's quicksand. We're having a good day, and then all of a sudden, we didn't look at our plans right, and we didn't dig the trench long enough. We put the pipe in the wrong spot. We weren't paying attention to our blind spot, and we got into a little fender bender, right? So our day is a little bit screwed up, and then we get home, and money's tight, and the wife's mad at us because money's tight, and we can't pay that bill that we need to pay, and we get in a fight there, and then we go to blow off some steam. We go down to the bar, and we have a couple of drinks with our friends. And at the bar, the football game's on. And we decide we're going to place a big bet because we're going to win back that money that we need to pay that bill, make things right at the house. And then we lose $500 on the bet, right? These mental health crises, they come from small incremental things that we're all dealing with that don't go our way over and over and over again, right? We're having a great day, both feet are above the ground. We do the plan wrong, now we're up to our ankle in quicksand. Then we get home and we're fighting with the wife, we're up to our hips in quicksand. And then we go to the bar and we have a couple drinks and lose some money on a bet. We're up to our neck in quicksand, and now the second that we want to ask for help, we can't even put our hands up to ask for help anymore. Quicksand is really, really tough. Not impossible, but very tough to deal with by yourself. Quicksand is very, very easy to deal with if you can ask somebody to throw you a rope. If you can ask somebody to be there to give you a hand, man, 2 people can yank somebody out of some quicksand in 2 seconds flat. But you have to be able to ask somebody around you for help when you're in up to your knee or up to your waist or up to your neck, right? We have to have those people around us that we can rely on to be able to say, I'm not doing very good, and I need a little bit of help. I'm up to my neck in the quicksand. So that's one. We all have to know and have some people around us that we can rely on when things aren't going great for us, right? That's the most important thing. Whether that person's your wife, your dad, your brother, a close friend, we all need to have a support system and cultivate a support system that we can rely on when things are tough. We can't handle everything by ourselves, just like we can't do every aspect of a job by ourselves. We have a team around us to help us do the best work, right? The second thing, on top of having people around us, is especially at work, and to transition this back from kind of like personal to professional. In construction and manufacturing, we have both the highest rate of overdose death and the highest rate of suicide death, not only of any industry in the state, but any industry nationally. So, so it's important that individually we're cultivating those support systems, and at work, we're the the catchphrase that we were using last year that I'm sure you've all heard many times before through either my use or AGC's use is we really need to work on actively caring for people, right? And as a supervisor, as a leader, as maybe even a an untitled leader. Every job site has that one guy that everybody from lowest level foreman to superintendent looks up to and respects. And many times that person isn't a foreman or a supervisor or a project manager. They're a seasoned veteran who knows how to get things done, and people respect that. Um, we need to know the people on our teams as more than just Reed, the green laborer, or Matt, the veteran operator, right? We need to know the people on our teams as people. And a great way to kind of like cultivate those relationships is by knowing them, the people around you, as people, not just as operator or laborer. You should be asking the people who are on your team little things about their families, about their lives. How's your wife doing? How are your kids? You can go to any soccer games. What was your weekend like? We can't have our only communication between us and the people that we work with be, hey, great job on the excavator yesterday. Jump right out in that excavator today. We need to be able to have communications with the people on our teams. We need to be able to have conversations with the people on our teams at a very human level. Because if we're not having that communication, if we don't have that level of like camaraderie or interpersonal respect between leaders and subordinates, between team members, then team members aren't going to feel comfortable and confident coming up to Reed or to Matt or to Ben or to anyone who's in a position of responsibility or authority and say, Matt, I'm struggling right now with my mental health, or Matt, I'm dealing with a bunch of crap at home with my family, and I just got to talk to somebody before my head pops, right? There are a bunch of different ways that people can come up to us and express that they're under stress, that they're under the gun, that they got a big monkey on their back, but people aren't going to come up and talk to us about how deep in the quicksand they are unless they believe that you actually care about them. And the only way that they're going to believe that you actually care about them as a person is if you spent a little bit of time cultivating those relationships. Talk to the people around you, ask them how they're doing. You should know more about the people around you than just they're a great operator. Right? We need to really work on cultivating those interpersonal relationships with the people who are around us, our team members, whether they're our subordinates or our superiors. We never know who could be dealing with quicksand, who could be up to their neck, who could be up to their hips. So talk to the people around you, ask people how they're doing, talk to people like people first, and then get into the kind of professional, I need you to do this, we need to do better about this, we didn't do a good enough job of checking the plans yesterday, whatever it is. But we're all at work too early. We have enough time during our morning coffees to say a couple of quick things about jokes, life, how's your family, how are the kids, that kind of stuff. And then bingo, right back into it. I get it. This is how we operate. I've been in construction or around it for most of my life, but there is always time to ask Ben, how are you? Matt, how are you? What's up with the kids? What'd you do at camp this week? Got any big things planned? Those little conversations can really open doors for people, and on top of having kind of a return on investment in terms of the mental health and suicide prevention space, it also has return on investment in terms of the buy-in from your crews, lack of kind of turnover of employees, lack of missing time. All of these things are secondary and tertiary benefits of having good interpersonal relationships. So again, I know that was kind of hokey, kind of different, but these little things make big differences, right? They say an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Um, Remember that like just asking someone how they're doing, asking about their kids, talking to them. If they're not having a good time, just being someone to listen to what's going on, maybe offer some advice. I've been down in this hole before. I know how to get out of it, right? Um, but be there for the people around you. Again, construction, manufacturing have the highest rates of both suicide and overdose of any industries in not only the state, but in the nation. Um, Today is the last day of Construction Suicide Prevention Week, but we are in the middle of construction or Suicide Prevention Month. So please take a couple minutes next week, early in the morning, with your crews as you're kind of planning. Just mention it's Suicide Prevention Month. I work very closely with Matt. We have a bunch of different suicide prevention, overdose prevention, mental health resources. And Matt, you guys work with Invest, is that correct?
Yep.
Yes.
Exactly. So you have another great mental health resource in Invest EAP. Please actively care for the people around you. Be aware of the quicksand. It's all around us. If you're in, it's okay. Nobody's ever doing okay 100% of the time. And you can always bounce back. There's hands out there willing to throw you ropes. All you have to do is say, I'm dealing with the quicksand, right? And talk to your people as people, actively care for them, know them as people, and don't be afraid to kind of have those hard conversations with people. It's never comfortable when somebody says, I'm not doing well. My first reaction is still wants to be, man, that sucks. Let's kind of find a way that I can duck my head and get out of this conversation quick. Right. So I get it. Even for me, I deal with this every day. It's a tough, kind of stomach turning thing when somebody says I'm not doing well. You can make the biggest difference that you've ever made on this job, in the job that you have, by having that conversation with someone, right? We can make a big difference. Look out for the people around you. This isn't just an at work issue. It's an at home issue. Take care of your spouse, your kids, ask them how they're doing, friends, family. This is a national thing. So please, again, actively care for the people around you, both in your personal and professional communities. Keep an eye out for the quicksand. And if you're in it, don't be afraid to ask for help. We've all been there. We've all been in the quicksand. That's all
Thanks,
I
Reed.
got, unless there's questions. Matt, Ben, I really appreciate you guys having me again this year.
We appreciate it too, Reed. You know, with each other and with ourselves, to try to practice empathy and compassion with fellow human beings is very important. And I always tell people when they first come here, don't let things grow, don't let things get big. Try to figure out a way to either get aligned with it or deal with it when it's small. And for each other, if we can take that one little thing out, that's that extra straw that can keep them a little bit further away from the edge. Sometimes that's the best that we can do, because we aren't the professionals that can unpack everything and we can refer them to Invest EAP, but we can certainly help with those few words of, you know what, Reed? It's gonna be okay.
That's exactly right.
And we can protect each other and just take those extra little things that we can control and that we can help with and get them a little bit further, a little more comfortable and provide support to each other. So that's a lot of what we do here with our culture. So this fits really well with a lot of the beliefs of the people that are here, Reed. So I really appreciate your words. Well said.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
You can stay on, Reed, if you want to watch the rest of our kind of news.
I'm gonna go get some McDonald's breakfast.
Sounds good.
Have a good day, guys.
Thank you, sir. That was good. All right, Matt, I've got to try to share my screen here. Let me know when it comes up.
Will do.
I am going to mention to Calkins, who's now called Blue Mantis, their new company is Blue Mantis, but they push the updates to our computers and devices on Thursday nights. And I think it would be better if they did it on a different night, because it kind of messes some of us up on Friday mornings when our computers are trying to restart.
Yeah. Yeah, we have the email up.
Okay, you got it?
Yep.
Okay. Going to move through it a little quicker today. Let's see. So it is Construction Suicide Prevention Week, which we had. Thank you for putting that together this morning with Reed, Matt. That was good.
Yeah, you're welcome. Just to highlight again, we got to Invest EAP to help kind of solve some of that problems for us. So get with myself or Aaron, Ben, supervisor, anybody, and we can kind of highlight that for you.
I think I have. Let me look down here. Hold on. Let me get down I do have down a little bit further in each email every week. There is a link to the EAP brochure and their contact information right here on our weekly email. Just wanted to bring attention to that. Code of conduct item of the week: strive for restraint, discretion, and integrity. Like I say here, exercise that self-discipline and try to avoid impulsive acts and communication, and just think before you say or do. We have a lot of incidents safety-wise that could be curbed by just a little bit of stop before you do and avoid impulsivity, but also in our communication, we all deal with a lot of issues when we said something that we got to deal with afterwards because we didn't think about it. That old, I shouldn't have said that. That was a dumb thing to say. We all do it, but I like that code item. Remember September 11th? Yesterday was the National Remembrance Day for the terrorist attacks. It's hard to believe it's be 25 years next year, right? So yeah. 24 years. I was doing a takeoff on a chilled water system. I remember exactly where I was. I was right in where Nick sits now, Nick Gaudreau's office. We had a big round table in there, and I had a set of plans. And when that attack occurred, I was doing a takeoff for a change order on a chilled water system at IBM. And I was right in the middle of that when that thing occurred. Crazy.
It was.
So think about that. Lost a lot of people on that day. I think it was 3,000 or more.
Yep.
The ECI golf tournament, if you every year we do that. It's up in St. Albans. Contact Tom Pigeon if you haven't already. I know he's already putting together a team, but that's going to be coming up on October 4th. We have an ownership topic of the week by Richard Keach. He suggested the topic because we have, I won't read it. You guys can read this yourself if you want, but in a nutshell, our GPS equipment, some of these rovers and pieces of equipment, it seems like all of them are tens of thousands of dollars. Just one rover setup, I think, is like $38,000. And they make our work a lot more efficient, and it allows us to be in a lot more places and have accurate information. But when we don't take care of these precision instruments, they go down, and then it's very costly to repair them, and then we're without them. And some people don't know how to do the old way with tape measures and plumb bobs and grade stakes. And so we can find ourselves in a bad situation when we don't take care of our equipment. So if you read this, I think I said it in a few more words, but handle our GPS equipment with care. Don't let them get wet. If they do, dry them out, open the battery box, the battery door, and put them in a dry place, dry them off the best you can, and keep them in their case whenever you can. I think it's an important thing for us as employee owners to take care of our assets, especially these expensive ones. So you can read the paragraphs on that. Upcoming events: Family Fun Day on October 11th. A lot of you have signed up with Elena, and then if anybody else wants to work on the event, give Elena a call. Her number's here. Welcome Isaiah Terrell. He started on Monday. He's I think going to be working at the Parkway and maybe out on 2A. Welcome, Isaiah. And again, I have the Employee Assistance Program link right here to the brochure. So if you click that link on the email, it'll bring you right to all their an explanation of what they do for us and their contact information and their numbers right there. So today we're going to talk about the gym floor slab replacement at Orleans School, presented by Ron Johnston. Ron, do you want me to drive?
Yep, you can drive, Ben. So ECI was contracted with Limelight Restoration Services to replace the Lake Region Union Elementary and Middle School District gym floor. The original concrete floor slab was topped with a rubberized basketball court, which was damaged beyond repair by a flood caused by a water break in 2024. We also did some work on that last year because of that flood.
Yep.
It was determined that the entire concrete floor needed to be replaced before installing a new rubberized basketball floor. The damaged rubberized surface and concrete floor slab were removed by others before ECI work began. Our scope of work included new sub-base material and a new concrete floor. ECI's scope of work: install 60 yards of new sub-base material, install 15 mil vapor barrier, install number 4 rebar mat, 18 inches on center each way, place and finish a new concrete floor, 4-inch slab with an 8-inch thick perimeter. The challenges of the job: obviously getting sub-base material into the building and placing, grading and compacting, pumping concrete inside the building, and we used our trailer pump. Tight slab tolerances, maximum of 1/8 inch variation in elevation within 10 feet, which some people don't think that's a big deal, but it's quite a deal when you're placing a concrete slab. And dealing with the ride-on trowel machines with the carbon monoxide fumes. So for the fumes, what we did, we used the a blower that went on a skid steer, worked really good. Daryl used it before in a previous job for a paving job, and so that's where we got the idea from, and that worked great. So this is the putting in the sub-base material. This is still putting it in. We used the two walk behind Vermeers that worked out really well for placing it around once we got it in there. This is prepping the slab, the vapor barriers down, rebars going in. This is another prepping the slab. This kind of shows the thickened area all the way around the perimeter. And then this is pour day. You can see the auto level set up. You know, the boys use the auto level to shoot all of our wet pads. And then we checked it because of them tolerances. This is just placing again, just starting to place right there. It was quite a floor, 60, I think it took like 65 yards. This is just getting ready to start pumping. This is where we're finishing up right here towards the end.
A lot of work.
Yeah, we had plenty of guys to help, you know, because there's a lot of work pulling that ground line and the screeding and, you know, just trying to get that tolerance as best as we could. And the guys did a great job.
Professional looking crew.
Very
like I wrote here.
professional looking.
Complete with high vis and hard hats.
Yeah, this is the finish was complete, and this is the wet cure. We wet cured it for 7 days, and I went up a couple times on the weekend, and Zach went up once, and you know, we just made sure that it was totally wet underneath it. This is the finished product. Came out very well. Me and Todd went up and we did we shot every 10 feet. We snapped chalk lines and we did a survey of the elevation. And we had just a couple of small high points. And this is where Aaron and Kevin are taken down. You can see there wasn't very much of it. There was just a couple of spots that had to be ground down a little bit just to make that tolerance. I didn't want to get a back charge from the flooring people when they put the basketball court on for having to grind down anything. So we took care of it in-house and it went very well.
Fine tuning. That's cool. Here's one, Ronnie, that you guys might remember.
Yeah, this is the Shalott School. I remember that. This is when I first started here, actually. I think it was like 2009. That was a addition we did on the Shalott School. And that was, we actually had a slab on deck over top of this once they did the building, and we went up, we did that one. That was quite a job.
I see Paul Brunton, Pat Lumbra, who's not with us anymore. Pat's gone. He passed away, I believe.
I think the only one there is Kevin Stedman is the only one that's still here. And I think.
Yep. You got Brian Sumner. Oh, yep. There's Kevin. So yep. Kevin can tell us who the other guys are.
Yeah, he was there. Ask him.
Kevin, we see you're there, so you can tell us who everybody is. I think that's P2 down on the right.
It looks like Ron Savage there, just behind the guy in the red.
Yep.
I don't.
Pretty cool.
Can't really make out the other guys. Maybe one's P2. I don't know who's vibrating the screen it though.
It's kind of cool. I found that in some of your the old concrete pictures.
Yep.
So pretty cool. Thanks, Matt. Thank you, Matt, for bringing Reed on, and thank you, Ron. I'll turn it back over to Matt.
Yeah, if you're watching a group setting, please send that over so we can capture this morning's attendance for record-keeping purposes. Let's drive safe, let's work safe, and let's have a great day.
Thank you, everybody.